Let's get after it. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the Hat and Beard Show. It, of course, is Monday, May the 4th. In the Big 2-6. In case you didn't get it, that's right. It's May 4th. Cheeky. That's what the joke is on the thumbnail. If you put that together, congrats. If not, congrats. All right, everybody. I'm Hat and Beard. It's the Hat and Beard Show. We got news around the league a little bit. We're trying to do the best we can. You guys know what time it is. It is full steam ahead into the offseason. We will discuss today from A to Z Sports. Different. It's not the slipper, right? We got an article from Brandon Little. There's a real nightmare scenario potentially brewing for the Cleveland Brownies if Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback. Yeah, you're going to have some problems. Gonna have some problems in Cleveland. Among other things, one of them being your quarterback situation. Oof. A mistake by the lake indeed. Then we're going to shift gears, talk about the Detroit Lions. It is all future-based, right? Think of today as episode 1. Now this is pod racing. Are you satisfied with the Lions offseason? All right, go ahead and chew on that. Think about that a little bit before we get into an article from Yahoo Sports, and then back to A to Z with our little comfortable slipper Mike Payton. Three ways the Lions can still take care of action Jack Campbell after declining his fifth-year option. There is a reason for that, and it all comes down to the dollary dues, and good old Mike Payton has it lined up for us in a relatively palatable way. All right, now I understand. It's the dollary dues. It's not fun. It's not sexy, but it's things you guys need to know about the workings of how the team moves forward. And then, obviously, looking to the future of the Detroit Lions, we're going to do a little bit of a scouting report. Derek Moore's scouting report, why the Detroit Lions' second-round pick was a slam dunkaree-doo. Taking a deep dive into the Lions' edge. Derek Moore's scouting report. Brett Whitefield over at Pride of Detroit. You guys will be reading all those articles, taking your chats, doing a bunch of other things. Make sure that before we get too far down the line, though, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here at YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. All right, and if you want to engage in the chat over on YouTube, you do have to have a little bit of skin in the game. You're going to have to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, okay? Hit that like button and share this around. Tell everybody you know about the Hat and Beard Show. Tell them to tune in and, get the most based NFL and Detroit Lions content out there. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Now that's all. We're going to go ahead and get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, guys, so to start the day off, we're going to be looking at A to Z Sports over in Ohio. Brandon Little, Ohio State Buckeyes and Cleveland Browns news writer says there's a potential nightmare scenario brewing in Cleveland. One of which is the quarterback room. That's right, the best thing that could have happened for Deshaun Watson's chance of starting for the Cleveland Browns was a new head coach. Watson never stood a chance in Kevin Stefanski's system and gets a fresh start with Todd Monken. There's a world where Watson is the 2026 starter, and it may even be trending that way. Watson being the starter for the Browns in 2026 is bad news for Cleveland if it plays out in a very predictable way. Browns starting Deshaun Watson would be a tough pill to swallow for the future. Swallow jokes, tough, all kinds of things. You know what I mean? I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I do not like Deshaun Watson. The Browns will have Watson around for one more season before they can part ways next offseason. Outside of Watson returning to form as one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, there's zero chance he's with the Browns next season. Hopefully, there's zero chance he's playing any form of football. The Browns have 3 young quarterbacks on the roster, but it doesn't matter if none of them can win the starting job. We don't care about his stats, right? We don't care about, dude. That's what I hate about the offseason. There's no good stories. Rookie Talon Green joins Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel in the Browns quarterback room. My take right now is the Browns will trot out Watson, Sanders, and Green as their 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. And who's the odd man out? Well, that'd be the guy taken ahead of Shedeur Sanders last year. Dylan Gabriel. That's right, Dylan Gabriel. The odd man out. The music stops, and he's looking around. All there is an upside-down turned bar stool for him to sit on. Cleveland is coming off a 5-win season, and their schedule is going to be far more favorable than last year's. If the Browns go out there and win 6 to 8 games with Watson, well, yeah, that's a pretty bad situation. Winning games with a lame duck pervert quarterback, that's not ideal. Cleveland missing the playoffs will also not be being in the top 10 of the draft order would be a real gut punch. Yes, sitting at 17 sucks donkey water. The 2027. What the hell is this ad? Get out of here, ad. Nobody likes you, ad. Go away, ad. The 2027 NFL draft will be better than the 2026 cycle at quarterback. We don't actually know that. It looks that way, right? With names like Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Darren Mensah, Julian Sayin, and Drew Metzemaker are names to know for next year's draft. Watson has given the Browns 0 reasons to believe he's the franchise quarterback 4 years now, and he'll turn 31 years old at the start of the season. Well, that has very little to do with anything at the quarterback position, but the injury history uptick on him does kind of, put a little bit more wear on them tires. Also, he's a giant piece of shit. If Watson goes out and gives the Browns close to average play and they lean on their defense, the Browns may see a good bump in success from last season. In what is likely Watson's last season with the team, it's not worth missing out on the 2027 quarterback. Already just packing it in on Shedeur, huh? I thought Shedeur Sanders was so great. Of course, when the time comes, Cleveland can try and trade up for a quarterback. That's easier said than done because just like the Browns, teams around the NFL are looking forward to what's coming in 2027. Some fans may not want to hear it, but this is the real scenario that could play out in Monken's first season. Be it that I'm not a fan of the Browns, I wish all but the absolute worst for Cleveland. I hope everything goes sideways. I hope you guys tie every single game you're ever in. You know what I mean? I hope every soda you drank is already shaken up. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope you go to plug your hairdryer in and the circuit shorts out. You know what I'm saying? Like insert Chance the Rapper. I cannot think of the name of the song, but it's off of Acid Rap's album, which is like one of, if not the like greatest performing independently produced and released album of all time. As far as like awards and accolades, I'm not saying that you need to be listening to Chance the Rapper. I'm just saying that at a point in my time, Acid Rap was a friggin' fantastic album, and I cannot think of the name of the song that's coming to mind right now. But all those bad things. I don't want like injuries to happen to the Browns. I'm just if they all like if their team has like regular diarrhea throughout the season, I'm not gonna be like, oh, fiddlesticks, fellas, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be like, oh, That's what happens when you have Deshaun Watson in your employ. It's gross. It's gross. That's gross. It's just gross. So we're going to shift gears and get away from the mistake by the league. Shake that out, guys. Shake it out. Shake it. Well, shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. We need to get out of that mentality. I don't like thinking about the Cleveland Brown Eyes. I don't like talking about Deshaun Watson. So we're going to go ahead and shake it on out. Talk about the Lions, guys. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Is that a Moldy Teeth I see up in there? What's up, Moldy Teeth? How you doing, brother? The Browns will beat the Lions. Highly unlikely. I've never eaten acid rap before. Nice, dude. Well, Brent, I highly recommend LSD. It's an awesome substance if you're up for it. But yeah, dude, you should check out if you like interesting rap music. Check out Chance the Rapper's Acid Rap. I think that's the name of the album. Let me double check here. Yeah, Acid Rap full album. Yeah, dude, it's good. It's good. I recommend it. It has my stamp of approval. It's pretty good, especially if you like that style. You know that kind of rap, hip hop. You know what I mean? I have definitely eaten more than you, but minus the rap part. Maybe not. I tend to not get into how many how many trips I've taken. You know. What's up, Brandy? No, he did not. He did not. What? What you talking about? Moldy teeth is a troll. No. He's just moldy teeth being moldy teeth. Oh, yeah. All right, never mind. Well, that's kind of a dick move, dude. Watch this. Check this out. You want to see something cool? Watch this. Skadoosh. And skadoosh. 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 There you go, bud. Yes. How many? Not into the thousands. No, not into the thousands. Don't worry, took care of that problem. I ain't acid rap, but I'm rap on acid. Eminem. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, brother. What'd you miss, Edward? You missed us talking about Deshaun Watson, because that's like, it was either, God, it's dude. I hate the offseason. It was either talk about Deshaun Watson or talk about the Cowboys trying to trade up in the draft. That was basically the two national news segments that I had early on. You know what I mean? Like that was about it. I'm like I'll show you exactly what it's like, dude. I'll show you exactly what this shit has been like. This is what the offseason's like. This is what it's fucking like, dude. Right here. This is what it's like finding stories in the offseason.
Sir?
What?
Are we being too literal?
No, you fool. We're following orders. We were told to comb the desert, so we're combing it.
Found anything yet? Nothing yet, sir. How about you? Not a thing, sir. What about you guys? We ain't found shit.
That scene is so damn funny.
You guys.
Do you see the afro
we
pick?
ain't found shit.
God damn. Oh, man. Woo! They don't make them like they used to, fellas, bro. Oh, man. Oh, man. Kid Rock had to bang Eminem's girlfriend because libtard. That's awesome. Yes. What's up, Steve? How you doing, man? Cowboys can trade all they want. They'll choke in the playoffs. Dude, the Cowboys got to make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Derek, I know. That's fine. And I can deny Moldy Teeth his First Amendment right, because I am a fair and just benevolent dictator. I am fair and just in my benevolency towards dictatorship and how I rule my kingdom. In Mad Hatter Nation, most things are good and good. Pretty fair game. But just don't be a butthole. Especially don't be a butthole towards my mom. There you go. It's not that hard. I can just block and ban people. It's pretty simple. You know what I'm saying? You could talk about how the 2026 we improve and correct the mistakes of 15-2 losing to Wash. Edward, so that game, first of all, that game is a couple years back now. And I cannot unprogram my Alex Jones brain when I hear Dennis Allen on record saying that Ben Johnson contacted him in November about being the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, and I can't get past the idea that Ben Johnson was just like, I give up. I'm done. I give up. You know what I mean? On top of that, we had like 7,000 players on IR that year. You know what I mean? Like that year we had so many players on IR. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Jody? Good to see you, sister. How you doing, man? How you doing? Or sis? Man, dude. Whatever, bro. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. All right, guys. So I posed the question here that Yahoo put up with us. Are you satisfied with Detroit's Lions offseason? It's safe to say that the letdown that was 2025, the Lions needed to hit reset in 2026. They did not require a major overhaul, which you guys realize that historically, we would be in a rebuild by now, right? Had we not gone the route that we went, had the Lions continued in the SOL mentality, followed normal hiring practices, brought in degenerate, worthless GMs, just over-bloated, fat, bearded bags of shit to be head coaches. I don't mean anybody in particular. Patricia. We would be in this rebuild scenario right now, right? We would have made the wrong decision. At some point, the Lions, we would have made the wrong hiring choice, the wrong GM choice. We would have made the wrong draft selections. You know, we would have done things like instead of Hutch, we would have taken Malik Willis 2 overall. You know what I'm saying? We would be in this rebuild, but we're not. We are in a polish it up a little bit, right? I've said it before. We are in the golden age of Detroit Lions modernity, right? We've never before seen this type of a run, right? At least in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because I lived through 0-16. You know what I'm saying? So we did not require a major overhaul, but there was a clear need to add affordable talent. With limited capital in terms of salary and draft picks, it was going to be difficult offseason for general manager Brad Holmes to navigate. With the 2026 NFL Draft in the rearview mirror, we have finally achieved some clarity. Sure, training camp battles will be had for a handful of starting and depth position, but as the roster slowly creeps to 90 players, the only changes upcoming will be modest. This is essentially our first true look at the 2026 Detroit Lions. Is the roster good enough to not only return to the playoffs, but make a Super Bowl run? Today's question of the day is, are you satisfied with the Detroit Lions offseason? And before we read that the article here, the writer says that they are you, chat? Are you satisfied with the moves that the Lions have made? Not I would have done X, Y, and Z, not, go after Max Crosby. But with the moves that have been made, the toothpaste that has already been squeezed out of the tube, do you look at it now and go, okay, yes, I can understand. I see the road ahead. I see a path to victory with the moves that have been made, and I understand now why we made the moves that we have made. Do you see it now? You know what I'm saying? Some fans say we're in a rebuild. Well, some fans are fucking crazy. Some fans will never be satisfied. Some fans play too much damn Madden, dude. You know what I mean? May the 4th is for Spaceballs. Star Wars got ruined by Kathleen Kennedy 100%. Brent, I completely agree with you, dude. I am a bitter man when it comes to what Kathleen Kennedy did to Star Wars. I was a huge Star Wars fan growing up, dude. I fucking loved Star Wars. I still like the prequels, man. I think, like, the prequels really aren't... I think we're just dickheads. You know what I mean? I think most people are just dickheads. And the prequels, like, I liked them when I was a kid, and I watch them now, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't bad, dude. This isn't bad. The modern stuff is just absolute the message. You know what I'm saying, dude? It is so just like, just, and I have this strong belief that IPs like Star Wars, like Lord of the Rings, the sci-fi, the fantasy, the things that the cool kids didn't like, they could never understand why people enjoyed them. So instead of just letting us be and enjoy our weird little fucking niche stuff, they decided they had to co-opt it and destroy it. And they did. And Star Wars sucks now. And that sucks, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just sucks, dude. You know what I mean? The prequels were fun in the theaters as a kid on gel tabs. Hell yeah. Dude, that's the thing. Like I have good memories of the prequels because I was in middle school when the first one came. I was in like 6th grade when episode 1 came out. You know what I mean? And yeah, like when you go back and watch episode 1 now, it's kind of cheesy. You know what I'm saying? But the prequels, personally, I think the prequels still kind of hold up, dude. You know what I mean? I don't think they're as bad. I think we were just being dicks at the time. You know what I'm saying? Our free agents were good additions. Our draft class is our emergency development plan. Hey, I like that thought process, Raw. Okay, so okay, fair. Yeah, I like that. those fans watch too much Woodward Sports. You got the guys on there saying this is awful and it's a rebuild because that's brand new. Yeah, dude, or a new brand. Dude, it's for the clicks, bro. The prequels feel like a trilogy that is one cohesive story. The sequels feel like you're watching 3 separate movies. Yeah, dude, don't they? Don't they? They 100%. Phantom Menace was a bit slow start, but overall decent. Clones and Revenge is great. Yeah, dude, Clones and Revenge is a lot of fun. And like I said, as a 38-year-old watching episode 1 now, it's like, get on with it now. Come on now, chop now. Come on now. Come on now. Now this is pod racing. You know what I'm saying? And I always bet on Sepulba because he always wins. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we all realize that Watto was a Jew? Like you guys realize that Watto was a Jew. He is like literally a flying version of the merchant meat, the greedy merchant. You guys realize that, right? Like I was a bit on Sebulba because he always wins. You're the Jedi mind tricks. They don't work on me. He's supposed to be a Jew. Y'all realize that, right? Pretty cool. She didn't, hated it, but always loved me when I did. Nice, dude. My good friends are working on Skywalker. Nice, dude. Art, I always forget, dude. You're in that industry, bro. I forgot. I have faith that one might be legit knowing how they did Deadpool 3. Dude, and like that's the one thing about like Hollywood, right? Is that like sometimes there's just like this little glimmer where you're like, oh, you're still in there. We can still do this. It can still be saved. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like once in a while, there's just like this little gem that pops up, dude. But, I do think the culture war is shifting, bro. I for real do. But back to the story at hand. The Lions found out how when they lost Mahogany, their offense was not consistent. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, dude. That's and you know what, dude? That's a good point when you look at the additions that we made to the interior of the offensive line. We went heavy in guard on free agents, both through trade acquisitions, signing guys like Seth McLaughlin and Ben Barch. You know what I'm saying? So we retooled. We also have Frazier, Mahogany, Ratledge. You know what I'm saying? We brought in Cade Mays. So, okay, hang on. Let's look at this. All right, so internal offensive line, we lost Glasgow, right? So we're at -1. Bring in Seth McLaughlin. We're at a net neutral, okay? Because I'm just saying Seth McLaughlin because he's probably not going to, let's be honest, he's probably not going to make the active roster, right? So then we added Juice Scruggs, Ben Barch, and Cade Mays. You know what I'm saying? So we added one player to every spot, effectively depth and adding more depth, and there's still guys in-house. Like, yeah, we lost Awashika, but we got Frazier. You know what I'm saying? We brought in like a Ben Barch. I think that we retooled the interior of the offensive line via free agency. And then when you look at who we already had in-house with Manu, I think we're going to end up finding that Manu will end up being a third tackle, but slotted as your left tackle. I think that is probably going to be the plan for Giovanni Manu. Is look, he just never quite got to where we needed him to be in the time frame that we needed him to get there. You see that why we drafted Balake Miller. You know what I'm saying? You add a guy like a Larry Borum and a relatively palatable contract, you know what I'm saying, who is a not historically good, but historically can play the swing tackle spot and is on a bit of, no pun intended, a bit of a swing up in his production in his career in the NFL. If it's a one-year flash down in Miami, whatever. What did we lose? We drafted Balake Miller. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a one-year flash, what did we lose? We just have another valuable asset along the offensive line who can rotate in and out of two separate positions, further strengthening my narrative of the Swiss Army multiple tools in your toolbox approach that the Lions have towards building their roster. You know what I'm saying? Manu going to start? Manu going to be a Pro Bowl tight end. Well, that's the thing, guys, is like when I say these things, yes. Okay. So when I say these things, I'm using, data that like obviously one-offs can be argued. Like, okay, yes, Giovanni Manu might not be a starting tackle for the Detroit Lions. The plan might be that he's the next Dan Skipper. You know what I'm saying? Just as I've been calling him for years, the biggest troll in the NFL. Because he's just out there trolling cats. You know what I'm saying, dude? And I think it's absolutely hilarious, dude. Personally, to answer this question, are you satisfied with the Lions offseason? I think you guys are well aware of my standing on the Lions acquisitions through the offseason. I had not only called for the signing of Cade Mays in free agency, which of course they did. I also told you guys that David Montgomery was going to be traded, if not released from the Detroit Lions, and his final destination was going to be either Tennessee or Houston, ultimately landing in Houston. And then I told you guys that we were going to draft Blake Miller. I am very happy with the moves that have been made in this offseason. I could give a shit less about Al-Qadim Muhammad. I could give a shit less about Alex Anelzone and Amik Robertson. I don't care. They are not that impactful to the overall production and moving forward with the franchise. Yeah, Alex Anelzone, David Montgomery, I really like those guys. I like David Montgomery a lot, and I always will. Alex Anelzone, I watched him deteriorate right before our very eyes. I watched his play slip week to week to week the final season he was here in Detroit. I got very upset with the lack of production and opportunities given to David Montgomery. However, there might be something going on that we don't know about, and for all we know, there's something going on that Brad Holmes knows about with David Montgomery. He was just able to fleece the Houston Texans out of a draft pick and a Juice Scruggs. For all we know, if then there, something happens, Juice Scruggs ends up having to be a starting guard for the Detroit Lions and has an all-pro season and just usurps the starting left guard role from Christian Mahogany. And 2 years from now, we're going, Christian what? Oh, you guys remember Christian Mahogany? Yeah, and then we got Juice Scruggs. Woo! You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? And Scruggs was a guy that we were watching that Brad Holmes said that they had their eye on in the draft process, as well as, was it Bud Clark? Or not Bud Clark. That was the safety that we wanted. The linebacker that we signed, that we got, that was in Dallas. God, I can't remember his name right now. Another person that we had been watching, Brad Holmes has said we watched them in the draft process. They just went 2 picks before him. You know what I'm saying? So there's these guys that we're going after. The writer here is they are satisfied with the acquisition. Why are there 20 attendees on here? Why are there only 20 attendees? Hey man, I think 20 is pretty good. That's a lot, man. That's a lot, dude. That's quite damn. There's 18 here. There's 5 of you guys over on Rumble. I ain't gonna lie. American Boxer. That's a lot for me, dude. I'm honestly, fellas. Honestly, I'm tickled shitless when that number goes from 0 to 1. When there's 1 of you in here, I'm like, that's dope, man. That's dope. I think it's pretty cool that you guys like to at least argue with me. He's gonna start at left tackle. I rewatched the Bengals game. They have something there. Raw, and that's kind of where I got kind of like happy about Giovanni Manu, is that people are like, well, he didn't play well. I'm like, he didn't play great against the Bengals, but I think he played better than where I would have projected his production to be at this point in his career, knowing his backstory. You know what I'm saying? 100% on AA. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. You just kind of watched him fall. How many less shits could I give? I could give a shit less, dude. I hope you do take care of Montgomery down there. Take care of my boy. Lions getting some respect as dad. Brand's first offseason, not being flashy with signings, but taking care of priorities. Yeah, dude. It's not. And I said that, dude. I think I said that too. This offseason wasn't going to be sexy for us. We didn't have to make the sexy moves. We just had to make the right moves. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's just Scruggs in the 7th. He isn't as good as Mahogany or Frazier. I don't think so either, Brent, but what I had said is something happens to, and then he comes in and all of a sudden plays his balls off. You know what I'm saying? I think they did a good job bringing in more competition this season. Yes, dude. I think, Art, I agree with you. I think that our overall depth was elevated. You know what I'm saying? So that there's a little bit more pressure on some people. Appreciate it, Brandy. Thank you so much, sister. We're going to go ahead and pin that message. Manu got beat twice by one of the best pass rushers. Yeah, Brent, he got beat twice, then was held his own. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel that Manu played better than where I kind of thought he was at. I was impressed with. I'm not going to come out here and say, yeah, Potty Award winner right there. You know what I'm saying? But I think he played better than a lot of guys would be at that. Look how much farther ahead that he is at his development than a guy like a Colby Sorsdahl. You know what I'm saying? Ugh, the walking, talking ham with legs. You know what I'm saying, guys? Your content is much better substance than most. Oh, thank you, American. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Brent was one was by a linebacker, one was by Trey. Same move, sack early, one late. Oh, gotcha. I see what you're talking about. You're talking about the Bengals game. Well, I appreciate that, American Boxer, and we're doing the best we can. The thing is, dude, is I have a tendency to be a little bit abrasive with people from time to time, and they don't like it when I get in the microphone and talk like this. All right, so there are certainly a few moves that I was uncomfortable with at the time. Not me. Releasing Titty Decker, I was over the moon about that. Trading David Montgomery, you guys know my ass is a little chapped about that. Losing Amik Robertson. Amik Robertson. I like Amik Robertson for the same reason I like Jay Willie. You guys remember Jay Willie? Y'all remember Jay Willie? Huh? Knock on wood if you're with me. Y'all remember Jay Willie? Jamal Williams? I like the personality. I like the character. You know what I'm saying? Production, though. I wasn't so wild about that. I'm not saying I was mad about it. I think that guys sometimes have a personality that we like more than the play. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to not like a guy like Amik Robertson. You know, how do you not root for a guy like that? You know, but at the same time, you know, this isn't personal, Fredo. It's strictly business. You know, at offensive tackle, I initially questioned the signing of Larry Borum, along with everybody else except for Hattenbeard. But drafting Block Miller allows Borum to slide into a more neutral swing tackle role. He is also an upgrade over Dan Skipper. Miller, meanwhile, is about as perfect a replacement for Decker as you can get. He has talent, grit, and best of all, his salary is a fraction of what veteran starting caliber tackles cost in free agency. Yes, that is true. It was only natural for Gibbs to claim the number one running back role ahead of Montgomery, but I was still surprised to see him jettisoned to the Houston Texans. That being said, I think signing of Isaiah Pacheco is a solid prove-it deal for the former chef. As for the return of Montgomery, I'm intrigued by Juice Scruggs as the Lions' backup center, while the 2026 fourth-round pick was used to move up for edge Derek Moore, another player that will have my attention in camp. I think he will have all of our attentions in camp. Just total sidebar. We got a couple more articles before we get to Derek Moore. Is there one rookie that you are really wanting to see how they produce in camp? Are you, now that the draft has happened, now that we know who our guys are on the team, not necessarily who our guys were that we wanted, even though I said we needed to draft Blake Miller, we totally draft Blake Miller. I'm taking my victory lap every single time that comes up. Same with Jack Campbell, same with Cade Mays, same with drafting Hutch, you know, all the things. Is there one rookie in particular that you're just like, I want to see him out there. I want to see what this kid has. Because for me, I think Derek Moore is that guy. Maybe Jimmy Rolder. Either way, I'm wanting to see what we got in these Michigan rookies. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we've watched enough tape on Balake Miller. I think we kind of know what kind of battle is going to happen there. I think Derek Moore, though, has a very interesting opportunity to possibly punch out of his weight class. Does that make sense? I think he's coming in, and I know that Wanham isn't a sexy signing. What the hell is that fucking bug crawling around up in there? Fucking bugs on the window. Wanham wasn't like Peyton Turner, not that sexy of a signing. Obviously, Levi Onwuzurike were like, you got to be on the field, dude. You know what I'm saying? There, of course, is the Hammer, who I think should be the fullback. But I think Derek Moore has a real solid opportunity to punch above his weight class and, you know, really turn some heads, man. I really do. When I watch a little bit more tape on this guy, yeah, it's not sexy. It's not flashy. It's just, it's hard to argue with. Does that make sense? It's hard to argue with when you watch him play. Like, yeah, I see it. Losing Robertson, nobody cares about that. We signed Roger McCreary and then selected Keith Abney in the 5th round of the draft. Both these players offer extremely high upside for a minuscule cost. I have seen a lot of people very hype about the Abney pick. Again, not a position, though, that I did enough research on, especially that player in that spot. I think through all the mocks, which, again, is a major fault that I fell into, where I got too engrossed in the simulations that I had ran, more or less. I'll be honest. As the draft progressed, it became very evident to me that I was far too engrossed in data that I had compiled, patterns that I had seen, that once we got outside of the 2nd round, it was just kind of a free-for-all. You know what I mean? It was just kind of cut and run and go after who you want. But now that we've looked at how the draft broke down, the way that GMs are viewing this class, that's kind of how it had to be, and that's how it's going to be, I think, moving forward. As again, we've seen brass from different franchises talk as we move forward with the NIL, reducing the overall size of the talent pool every year into the draft class. I think you're going to have to see teams be a little bit more aggressive in the later rounds of the drafts and really do more homework on their guys, and that again is going to lead into us having more variance. I'm going to have to do. I think really what it comes down to is I am ultimately very dissatisfied with the amount of work that I had done as far as simulations, mock drafts, and data. Once we got out of round 2, I was very dissatisfied with where I had kind of seen players going. And I got to figure out how to deviate from whatever systems we were engaging with this last go around. I got to figure out some type of way to sharpen the pencil, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's committing more time, but luckily we have a whole year until that gets in our way. I think there's a genuine discussion about whether the Lions improved this offseason or whether their moves were more lateral. I am not in the boat myself, since I think the Lions unquestionably upgraded at center. Yes, Cade Mays is better than Graham Glasgow. I might almost go so far as to say that Juice Scruggs is probably better than Graham Glasgow at this point. Edge, DJ Moore, or Moore and Wanham. Safety, Christian Eisen and Chuck Clark as depth. And backup quarterbacks, Teddy Two Gloves Teddy Bridgewater over Kyle Allen. Yeah, not so wild about that. Detroit's offseason departures only really see losing Alex Anelzone and Roy Lopez as downgrades. Even I think the Lions have enough candidates at linebacker, obviously with Damon Clark, Jimmy Rolder, and the Cowboy, Malcolm Rodriguez. The defensive tackles of Levi Onwuzurike, Skylar Gill Howard, and Jay Tufethele to make for a worthwhile training camp battle. Yes and no. I'm not so... First few weeks of training camp, I'm not really too concerned about watching outside of the starting 2 tackles on defense. I really want to see what kind of steps Tyleek took this offseason moving forward in developing his overall physical abilities, not necessarily just his skill set. I think he's a very cerebral and skilled player. I would like to see maybe a little bit more power out of him. I think you've seen him lose some snaps to a guy like Roy Lopez, simply because I think Roy Lopez was able to control the run game a little bit more than Tyleek was. So if we could get a little bit more strength and control, again, a whole off season in-house is going to be significantly more beneficial for him. The step forward should be greater this year than the step in his rookie year, if that makes sense. How do you guys feel about that? How do we feel about the defensive tackle room? Just on the whole, how do we feel about the Lions getting better? Tacked our guard more than Monoborn wasn't brought to play backup either. He's going to fight. Be prepared for being able to play second, third string for sure. Levi's contract was automatically pushed to 26. Yep, that's exactly it, Brent. Levi is a super low risk or financial risk because due to the fact that we put him on IR so early, he never played a single snap. The way that the NFL Players Association contract works out is we were able to just effectively void out that whole year for him and roll him into the next year. So it was... I don't want to say it was a no-brainer, but when you look at kind of how productive Levi Onwuzurike can be when he's on the field, and how really low impact the contract is that we have on him, it's hard to just not, just keep rolling with it and see. Just give them tires. Just give them tires one more kick. You know what I mean? Okay, Brent. I didn't think about that. Is to put in my own player rankings. Gotcha. That's a good idea. It happens. That's a feet thing. Not pad level. Oh, you're talking about the guard play. Gotcha. I mentioned at the end of my post footwork. Hell yeah, dude. Seemed like it was happening. Lost in mostly stunts where we couldn't figure out where the rush was coming from. Agreed. Thank you, Mr. Detroit City. I appreciate it, bro. Hopefully you're having a good time down there in Florida, dude. It's we're getting a little tease of the warm weather up here, but temperatures to plummet later this week. Took the highway to the anal zone. Let's see. Can I use some type of an AI to make a music video of Alex Anal Zone jettisoning off to Tampa to Danger Zone? Now, if I was really wanting to get into the meta humor of it, I could double down and try and find Archer animated video done of Alex Anal Zone jettisoning off to Tampa to fucking danger zone if I really wanted to really get into a deep thinking joke. You know what I'm saying? Still a big Levi fan. Hell yeah. I want to see TA play like a first round pick. Jack, I do too, man. And I have faith. I do. I have faith in TA, man. He was putting it together the back half of his rookie year, man. He really was. He was coming around. And then it just went sideways. It went sideways for a few reasons. One, he went back to his old habits of putting his dirty little dick beaters on players, right? Two, Kirby Joseph wasn't back there to erase everything. You know what I'm saying? AA riding a gator. Oh, yeah, because he's from Florida. I forgot he played at Florida. Yeah. Hell yeah. It's on the C, coaches not giving out right assignments. I agree, dude. Yeah, yeah, you're right. If they weren't able to pick up stunts and that type of shit, that's totally on piss poor coaching. All right, guys, we're running a little bit late here. Let's go ahead and talk about Jack Campbell real quick. So really what it comes down to, guys, is do the Lions want to make Jack Campbell a very, very wealthy man, or do we want to fuck around and find out? The Lions surprised a lot of people outside of Detroit, and basically nobody in Detroit when they didn't pick up all-pro linebacker Jack Campbell's fifth-year option. On the outside, Tom took this as the Lions not having enough money to pay him, and that he'll be hitting free agency next year. Some wrote up articles about why their team should trade for him. In reality, this was the Lions being smart with their money by not paying him fully guaranteed near $22 million in 2027. That, of course, does not mean the Lions don't want him or don't want to pay him. They definitely do, and they definitely will. Here are 3 different extensions the Lions could pay Campbell to make up for the lack of the fifth-year option. Make Campbell one of the highest paid linebackers in the league. I need to specify this so that you guys don't get confused, Brent. Middle linebackers. I want to make sure that we all understand that he's being paid as one of the highest paid middle linebackers. Let's be honest, this feels like the least likely situation. Campbell just made first-team All-Pro, and he's still just 25 years old. The Lions are likely going to have to pay him big time. This is a big deal, and it's fair, but it might not be enough. In this scenario, Campbell gets a 4-year extension worth $80 million. It could put him in a $20 million AAV. That makes him the second or third paid middle linebacker in the league. It's not a bad deal, but I do know how the Lions like to take care of their guys. I'm just not sure this is the best deal. Yes, this would, it'd be okay. A lot of dead money, though. It'd be palatable, not so much. And you see here we're building out the void years. The other option is make Campbell the highest paid middle linebacker in the NFL by AAV. Doing it this way gives Campbell a 4-year extension worth $96 million. This would pay him about $24 million in AAV. He'd have about $60 million guaranteed. That would tie him with Roquan Smith for the most guaranteed money by a linebacker. Not a bad deal at all. The Lions get some low cap hits early on that they can restructure in 2028, theoretically. So here you go. So you get away with an $8 million, a $10 million, and then you get into the bigger money in 2028. But again, it gives that flexibility to possibly restructure. You see, what we're doing here is we're trying to get away. Look at this, 2026, and this option we go with $5 million. 2026, this year we go with an $8 million. We're trying to avoid paying the $20 millions of dollars in 2026 this year by hitting him with that 5th-year deal. The other and third option here is give Campbell the most guaranteed money for the linebacker in NFL history. This would make the deal a lot bigger. It would be, I'm sorry. Most guaranteed money for a middle linebacker in NFL history. This would make the deal a lot bigger. It would be a 4-year deal worth $104 million, and I am such a poor. In the second example, Campbell would have made the most out of any middle linebacker annually, but Smith's $100 million deal is still the king. In this case, Campbell is the flat-out man in terms of linebackers getting paid in total and annually. They still get to keep their lower cap hits early on, though, as you can see here. It gets a little bit higher up, but then you start... What we're trying to do here is palatable contracts this year and next year with the options to try and restructure from 2028 through 2030. What you're looking here is for restructuring And ideally, you can get in for a little bit of a cheaper out in 2030 in your void years, right? So a little bit of restructuring. This, again, obviously, we're just going to call it what it is. This is a bigger number than this or this, right? But, you know, I don't know, man. I'd like to see Jack get paid. Because, one, I'm taking my victory lap on Jack Campbell, right? I'm just going to continue to fucking sit on my high horse and cast judgment upon everybody who said Jack Campbell was going to be a bust when I was like, he's a pretty good college linebacker. And last year, you guys remember I said Jack Campbell is going to have a breakout year and be an all-pro linebacker and a second coming of Brian Urlacher, which is why I say Derek Barnes needs to be Lance Briggs. I think Jack needs to be paid $20 million a year. You want to go a little bit more than that, that's fine. You start getting into the $25 million per year, though. I know $5 million doesn't sound like a lot because I'm a poor and I can't fathom that kind of money. But that could be a whole ass other depth piece contract. Now, I would like to think that Jack Campbell seems like a stand-up enough dude to take a team-friendly type deal. To maybe say, hey, you know what? You guys gave me the opportunity. I love what's going on here in Detroit. $18 million. You know what I mean? Does that? I know I'm kind of like wishing pretty hard and ishing in the other hand pretty hard. But I'd love to see him take a little bit more of a team-friendly deal. But he does deserve to be paid what he is worth. Mays is a beast. Yeah, Mays is a beast, dude. Hell yeah. Fifth-year option is 100% based on linebacker contracts, including rush linebackers raw. That's why it was declined too high. Yeah, I think it was like, they said it was like $22 million or something like that. It gives us more flexibility for a couple of years instead of just so much this year up front. You know what I mean? And then you're just stuck back negotiating again. Greenlaw's the most recent example of wanted DN money. The Niners said no based on production. I really think Gibbs is going to have a monster year with this new O-line. Art, I do too. In fact, you know, Art. You got me thinking now, bud. We have seen what's the most years the Lions might offer Campbell? Reffy asking us over on Rumble. Probably 5 or 6. I don't see him going more than 6. But less than 5 is a little, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it seems a little insulting to the commitment to the individual, I'd guess. I don't know, man. I think 6 gives us pretty good flexibility, especially if you back in the last 2 years as like typical void years and restructure after the third, or into the third, start to restructure. But Art, I think Gibbs is going to have a monster year too. I'm starting to wonder, how big of a year do you think Gibbs and Pacheco could have? With the moves we have made along this offensive line and knowing that we want to get back to running the ball, knowing how creative Mike Kafka can be in his offensive scheming, and knowing how good Drew Petzing is at establishing run games, do we maybe see such an uptick in the run game production out of the Detroit Lions that for the first time since coming to Detroit, Jared Goff doesn't hit the 30 touchdown mark? Do we see such an uptick in the rush game production by the Detroit Lions that Jared Goff sees a reduction in his numbers? And then we're stuck having a conversation about how Jared Goff's fallen off? Dowdley did the Carolina running behind Mays. Yeah, dude. Yo, Dowdle did fucking awesome, dude, behind Mays. Mays is a monster. Fifth year option, do not separate. TJ Watt's contract affects linebacker contracts, not edge contracts. Gotcha. And, you know, I was wondering that. Have you guys noticed that over the last year and a half, I really started noticing it this year, that we've just effectively done away with the defensive end title, and people are just called edge players. They're just called edge now. They're not even like, you don't even get the defensive end title, you know? So here you go, guys. A quick scouting report on Derek Moore, right? College football playoffs, national champion in 23, Big Ten honorable mention in 23, honorable mention in 24, first team all Big Ten in 25, named 2025 team captain. Ooh, you love those team captains, dude. Named Bo Schembechler MVP. Ooh, all right, Michigan's 2025 defensive player of the year. All right, here we go. Strengths, prototype size, and length for the modern edge profile. Derek Moore is a 6'4", 260 pounds with 34-inch arms. He is proportionally built and may even have a little room left in his frame to add some good weight. Ooh, what if he got up to that 270 mark? Woohoo! Good athlete with excellent first step and transitional burst. Moore's first step is excellent. He covers a ton of ground and can force early adjustments from offensive linemen across from him. The instant he processes new information, he has the ability to change path and explodes in the opposite direction. His closing burst in pursuit also allows him to finish at a high level, whether as a rusher or chasing down run plays from the backside. Developmental pass rush plan with developmental moveset. The starting point for Moore's game as a pass rusher is his strength, physicality, and power. He is very heavy-handed, and you see his power translate with jolting strikes to offensive linemen. This lends to Moore having an excellent bull rush and speed-to-power conversions. Off the speed to power, he can transition into an elite pull-rip technique. Moore doesn't just have to play through the chest of his opponent, though. He has a variety of developed moves that allow him to soften the edge and win the corner. Most notably, a cross-chop rip technique. In 2024 and 2025, Moore started putting some very effective organic inside counter on tape as well. There you will see him with a beautiful Euro step, double swipe counter, and a baby hump. Lastly, Moore is slippery, able to dip under his opponent's punches, and with surprising bend for his size. This allows him to get his pads square on the target. Once he wins the rep and launch a full hands-free assault on the ball carrier quarterback. Analytical pass rush profile is S tier. Moore's resume by the numbers is second only to David Bailey in his class. Over his 4-year career, he amassed a total pass rush win rate of almost 20%, with that number rising nearly 23% in his final 2 seasons. In 2025, he had a pass rush win rate on a true pass rush set, 5 to 7 sets drop with no PA, for nearly 40%, which is borderline extraterrestrial. He was unstoppable. From a raw counting standpoint, Moore racked up 80 total pressures and 30 combined sacks and hits on the quarterback. This, despite the fact that Michigan's defensive line was loaded with talent and had basically been an 8-man rotation throughout his college career. In scheme versatility, Moore is definitely more comfortable lined up wide outside the tackle in a 7 technique or a wide 9. From a 2-point stance, but he can line up with his hand in the dirt too. There are reps, especially early in his college tenure, of him reducing down to a 4-eye alignment and wreaking havoc in the A and B gap, often as a stunner or looper. He also held up in run defense when in those reduced alignments when Michigan went to an odd front. He's a high IQ player with the ability to quickly diagnose and react. Moore's understanding of run concept is awesome. His eye discipline and synced up feet make him and his opponents look like synchronized swimmers, especially when he reads outside zone. When he reads power or counter, as a play-side run defender, he quickly diagnoses and triggers into a puller to take on roll, collapsing the alley. Strong at the point of attack against the run. When Moore is the force defender versus the run, you see the heavy hands and play strength to anchor and leverage his gap. I wouldn't recommend teams block him one-on-one with a tight end unless that tight end is a very gifted blocker and or has a head of steam as a split player. See Ohio State in 2025. There's a lot of good pros for him. Makes him sound like quite the steal of the draft. Well, let's talk about his weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Why wasn't he, if he's so good, why did he fall to the second round? Why were the Lions taking him at 44 and not, say, him going at number 4? Well, can be content to stack and hang on leverage as a run defender. Moore doesn't always play with a ton of urgency in his desire to shed blockers as the play comes to him. Some of this could be coaching, where the idea is to stack, anchor, and peek at gap, forcing everything back inside while letting the linebackers clean everything up. Yes, that's kind of how I was coached. However, for a heavy-handed as he is in his ability to win hand fights, I would like to see him shed, chase, and try to be more disruptive in the backfield. Either way, the Lions will definitely value the raw edge setting component here, even if some development is needed to become more disruptive on the whole. He needs to develop a secondary counter. Moore has a variety in the way he wins early, but what happens if things stall out? So far through his career, Moore has gotten by with a burning hot motor, but he will need to refine and add a pass rush plan to keep his rush alive against better offensive tackles. That's why, it's kind of what we see. Second round guys, a lot of them just kind of get it, very raw. Just needs a little bit of polish. If we can just figure out how to polish this guy, just get a little bit more shine, a little bit more crispness, we can just kind of work out some kinks. He's going to be a fucking monster, dude. Likely good, but not an elite athlete. We didn't get official testing from Moore at the combine or at his pro day. I do have access to advanced GPS data on him, however, and what we see is the 75th percentile or better athlete in top speed output, change of direction, and acceleration. The bottom line about Derek Moore, he is an uber-talented edge prospect with a developed pass rush skill set to go with a mouth-watering blend of size, length, and athleticism. He also brings a high football IQ and instincts to the table. His run defense isn't bad, but it lags behind his pass rush ability. This could make him the perfect partner with DJ Wonnum early on. Wonnum thrives on run downs. The Lions have finally found a high-caliber pass rush threat to set opposite their superstar, Aiden Hutchinson. This was a slam dunk of a pick. Hell yeah, dude. That's what we like to hear, guys. Finishing today on a little bit of a high note. How do we feel, boys and girls, after today's show? How are we feeling, Mad Hatter Nation? You guys got about 4 minutes. Lions will run better this year. Control clock more, but Goff will still have high numbers. I hope you are right, Jack. I hope you are 100% right, dude. What's up, David? How you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. The run game is working. The offense will break records. Oh, 100%, David. I think we're shaping up to have a really, really good season, guys. I really do. I really do. A lot of these defensive signings seem to be point toward a different defensive scheme this season. Art, I 100% agree. I think the signing that we made with Wonnum was to address the defensive edge on early downs. But if you look at the player, specifically Derek Moore, that we drafted in the second round, it was a high-caliber pass rusher in college that can be coached up to be a better run defender. We said, hey, we got to get after the quarterback, dude. We got to get after the quarterback. I also don't think – I'm pretty sure, guys, we are going to run a 4-2 – what is it, 4-2-7? Would that be it? Yeah, 4-2 and then 1-2 – 4-2-5, my bad. 4-2-5 style defense. Is that – 4-2, that'd be – there's a 6 and then 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so it'd be 4-2. Yeah, 4-2-5. Yeah. Moore's a situational guy. Yes, Raw, I agree. I think what you're going to see more probably this year deployed mostly in the Al-Qadim Muhammad pass rush role, dude. 30% downs. You know what I'm saying? Dude, Brent, I hope somehow Balake Miller wins offensive player or offensive rookie of the year, dude. I hope that happens, dude. I hope that happens. I hope he has such just a impossibly good season at offensive tackle. Like, this guy is the best offensive rookie in all of college football, and he's a lineman. That'd be absolutely awesome. You're going to be a little disappointed. Yeah, I know. Rick, math is not my strong suit, brother. I am not good at math, dude. Yeah, I'm not so great with the math, dude. Lions don't get awards, but that's a great thought. Yeah, Jack, that's true, dude. We don't get awards. We're not allowed to get awards. We're not allowed to have any of our players get accolades. Penne can't get the Potty Award. Hutch couldn't get the Defensive Rookie of the Year award, dude. Hutch could come out and have 47 sacks and 6 defensive touchdowns and still not win Defensive MVP, dude. Oh, yeah, Derek, you're out there in California, brother. Man, I bet you it's really nice. You guys in the warm weather fucking states, dude. Damn, yo. It's getting there out here, though. It's getting there out here, fellas. It's getting there out here. I appreciate each and every one of you who bothered to tune in and comment and shared this around or dropped a like. Or, if you're just watching, that's pretty cool, too, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to your day. An even better start to your week. I know it's Monday, but we're getting through it, and now we're, if you're a day shift guy, hey, you're almost on that back 9 of the day, dude. Look at us. Look at us, huh? I still got to go to work, dude. Lame. Whack sauce. It is what it is. But I appreciate you guys trying to have a good rest of your day. We will be right back here tomorrow. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so that you don't miss out on any wonderful content that I produce here Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here at YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. Until next time, I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. We'll see you then. Bonga bonga. Frig off.